My name is Alex. For as long as I can remember, my family has had a simple way of showing affection. It was a language of teasing, of subtle jabs and playful criticisms. And on a night that started with laughter and a perfectly cooked meal, that language was aimed squarely at me. They called me useless. They had no idea that my career, my life, was about to be validated in the most unexpected way. If you're watching this, drop a comment below and tell me about a time your family misunderstood you. And if you enjoy stories with a satisfying twist, make sure to like and subscribe. You won't want to miss how this unfolds. Our family get-togethers in Denver were always a lively affair. Lots of food, loud conversations, and inevitable gentle ribbing. I'm a software developer, and while I've been doing well, I've been so focused on reinvesting in a new project that I've been tightening my belt a bit lately. This meant I was driving a used car and living in a modest apartment. To my family, these were not signs of strategic planning. They were signs of failure. The topic of conversation, as it so often did, turned to finances. My older brother, Chris, always the first to jump in, was talking about his new promotion at a big corporate bank. "I'm making 6 figures now," he said, beaming. "Mom and Dad, you can finally retire in style." My parents' smiles were wide and proud. Then came the inevitable turn to me. My ever-so-subtle Aunt Brenda leaned across the table. "Alex," she said, her voice dripping with mock concern, "I'm so happy for Chris, but what about you? Is that little tech project of yours ever going to make you any real money? All that time in the garage, you know?" My father chimed in, with a slight smile playing on his lips. "Son, you're so smart, but you've always been a bit enthusiastic with your spending. When are you going to start acting like a professional like your brother?" My younger sister, Sarah, giggled. "Honestly, Alex, all those gadgets you buy are a waste. You're never going to be rich with a garage full of useless junk." It stung. Not because I was genuinely destitute, but because they never seemed to take my ambition seriously. My careful budgeting and long hours were not seen as a strategic move for something bigger. They were seen as proof of my unsuitability. They saw me as the useless younger sibling, and nothing I said could seem to change that perception. The truth was my useless projects were far more advanced than they could have imagined. For months, I had been working tirelessly on a revolutionary e-commerce platform that had already garnered serious interest from international investors. My phone, which was sitting on the table, was a silent witness to my success. I had a new email, a new text message, a new contract. Their laughter, though meant in jest, had actually solidified my resolve. I wasn't just going to quietly become successful. I was going to let them witness it in a way they couldn't ignore. My phone buzzed on the table. It was a confirmation I had been waiting for. My family thought I was just a bit down on my luck. They had no idea that my phone held the news that was about to change my life forever. What exactly was in that email? And how would my family react when they found out the truth? The laughter died down, but my phone continued to buzz with notifications. They thought it was just a joke, a pointless notification, another one of my useless gadgets making noise. They had no idea that my phone held the news that was about to change my life forever, the news that would turn their laughter into silence. I looked at my family, a calm smile on my face. My father was still shaking his head, and my brother, Chris, was still laughing. They had no idea that my useless ideas were about to be validated in the most unexpected way. "Excuse me," I said, my voice cutting to the noise of the restaurant. My family looked at me, confused. "I just got a message from a client." I continued, "I just want to share the news with you." They all looked at me with a look of mock concern on their faces. "What is it, Alex?" my mother said. "Did you finally find a real job?" The laughter started again, but I just smiled. "Actually," I said, "my new project has just been acquired for $5 million." The entire room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. My father's mouth was open, and my brother, Chris, looked as if he was about to faint. My family, who had just been laughing at my useless status, was now looking at me with a mix of shock and complete disbelief. I took a screenshot of the contract and showed it to them. The contract, which was a legal document, was a testament to my success. My family's faces went pale. They couldn't believe it. They had no choice but to see my success for what it was. Their laughter was a memory, a painful, humiliating memory that would now haunt them forever. My father was the first to speak. His voice was shaking. "Alex," he said, I don't know what to say. We're so proud of you. Why didn't you tell us?" I looked at him, and I wasn't angry. I was just calm. "You never asked," I said. "You were too busy laughing at my choices. You were too busy telling me that I was useless. I wanted you to see it with your own eyes." My family had always seen my ambition as a hobby, a phase. But in that moment, they had no choice but to see my success for what it was. Their laughter was a memory, a painful, humiliating memory that would now haunt them forever. My revenge wasn't loud or angry. It was silent, powerful, and served on a silver platter of public respect. What will happen when I leave the restaurant? And how will my family react when they find out the truth? The room was in chaos. My family, who had been laughing at me just moments before, was now looking at me with a mixture of shock, awe, and shame. My brother, Chris, was pale. My father, the man who had told me I was useless, had no words. They had been so sure of themselves, so sure of their victory. But they had no idea that their laughter was about to cost them everything. My mother was the first to speak. Her voice, once full of mockery, was now full of false kindness. "Alex," she said, her voice shaking, "we're so proud of you. We always knew you had it in you. Why didn't you tell us?" I smiled, a small, sad smile. I wanted to," I said. "I wanted to tell you about my success. But every time I tried, you laughed. You told me my ideas were a waste of time. You told me I was useless." My father, who had been silent, finally spoke. His voice was a quiet whisper. "Son," he said, "we were just teasing. We were just joking with you. We didn't mean it." I looked at him, and I wasn't angry. I was just calm. "You told me I was useless." I said, "You told me to be more like Chris. You told me that my life was a joke. Your words, Dad, were never just a joke to me." My brother, Chris, who had been silent, finally spoke. "Alex," he said, "I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry." I shook my head. "It's not about an apology. I said. It's about a lesson. You all laughed at me, and you made me feel like I was a failure. And in doing so, you lost. You lost the chance to be a part of my success. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was a quiet, powerful act of vindication. I had proven them wrong, not just with my success, but with my integrity. I had shown them that my worth wasn't in their approval. It was in my own self-respect. I had found my vindication, not just in my business, but in my life. I had learned that my family wasn't about blood. It was about who was there for me when I needed them the most. And in the end, that was me. I walked out of the room, leaving them to their stunned silence. They had won their little battle of wits, but they had lost the war. They had lost the chance to be a part of my success. So that's my story. It's a reminder that true wealth is not in your bank account. It's in your character. And sometimes the best revenge is to walk away from the people who failed to see your true worth. Have you ever had to choose between your blood family and your chosen family? What did you learn? Share your stories in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to hear more real-life lessons. Thank you for listening.